Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're heading straight into the kitchen to completely flip the script on what we've been taught about some of our absolute favorite and honestly most heavily criticized foods. If you love a good, tasty meal but find yourself totally stressed out by all those ever-growing lists of things you supposedly shouldn't eat, you are in the exact right place. We're going to look strictly at the science today, drawing directly from the incredible research of Dr. William Li to see if we can finally debunk some of these massive dietary myths. So, ask yourself this. What if the foods you were told to avoid aren't actually unhealthy at all? What if they can actively support your brain, your gut, and your metabolism? As we're about to discover, food is incredibly complex. It's rarely just black and white. Dr. Li's research reveals a brilliant thesis. Basically, when it comes to whole foods, they are not inherently evil. Reaping their benefits really comes down to a golden triad: quality, quantity, and preparation. Let's look at 5 surprising foods that prove this point perfectly.
We'll kick things off with Section 1, eggs, the brain booster.
For decades, eggs got a totally bad rap. They were heavily criticized for their cholesterol content. But if you look at the 1970s myth versus modern science, you see a massive paradigm shift. Think about it. Back in the 70s, sure, researchers were studying people eating eggs, but those people were eating them alongside massive portions of bacon and processed meats, all cooked up in unhealthy saturated fats. Modern science tells a completely different story. Just eating eggs by themselves doesn't inherently raise your bad cholesterol. Actually, they provide high-quality protein that your body desperately needs for repair, regeneration, and healthy aging. But the real magic? That happens right in your brain. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how that brain boost happens. Eggs are incredibly rich in a nutrient called choline. Your body takes this choline and uses it to produce acetylcholine, which is a vital neurotransmitter essential for your memory and cognitive function. So when you eat eggs, you're directly supporting how your brain cells communicate with one another. Higher dietary choline intake is firmly associated with better overall brain performance.
But remember our golden rules. Preparation and quantity totally matter. Here's how you actually get those benefits without any of the risks. First, ditch the butter and cook your eggs with healthy fats, like extra virgin olive oil. Boom, you instantly add a polyphenol boost to your morning. Second, don't overdo it. 1 egg a day is a fantastic, optimal dose to support your brain function. And third, if you want the absolute healthiest preparation method out there, boil them. Hard-boiled or soft-boiled, it's incredibly good for you. Oh, and whenever possible, opt for eggs from pasture-raised chickens because a healthier hen naturally lays a more nutrient-dense egg.
All right, moving on to Section 2, potatoes, the magic of leftover carbs. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How on earth can a carbohydrate known for spiking blood sugar possibly be good for you? Well, prepare to completely change the way you think about leftover carbs. The secret here is resistant starch. Most of us fear potatoes because they're a starchy carb, right? But let's look at the molecular magic that happens during preparation. When you cook a potato and then let it cool down in the fridge, the standard starch physically transforms into resistant starch. This is a powerful form of soluble fiber. When you eat this the next day, it actually bypasses early digestion and goes straight to feeding your healthy gut bacteria. Your microbiome then converts these compounds into short-chain fatty acids that lower inflammation, support metabolic health, and incredibly, they actually improve your insulin sensitivity. So here is the exact step-by-step process to turn a so-called bad carb into actual gut medicine. Step 1, steam, roast, or mash your potatoes. Just, don't deep fry them into factory-processed French fries. Step 2, put them in the fridge and let them cool overnight. Step 3, reheat them the next day. By simply altering the temperature timeline, the exact same food behaves entirely differently inside your body.
And actually, before we move on, I have to mention purple potatoes. I honestly couldn't believe this when I first read it, but they are absolutely packed with anthocyanins. That's the exact same natural polyphenol dye that makes blueberries blue. This compound specifically supports vascular health and healthy blood circulation. This right here is exactly why we can't just paint all foods with a broad black and white brush.
Next up, Section 3, white rice, the gut healer. This one is a massive surprise. I mean, nearly all of us have been told at some point to avoid white rice and swap it out for brown rice, right? We've all heard the myth that white rice is just a bowl of empty calories. But this connects perfectly to what we just learned about potatoes. If you cook white rice, save it, and let it cool in the fridge overnight, that starch also converts into beneficial, anti-inflammatory resistant starch. Literally overnight, a food labeled as empty becomes powerful fuel for your gut microbiome.
Now, a quick safety warning here. This is absolutely critical. You want to cool your rice for exactly 1 night to get that resistant starch, but do not store cooked rice past 1 day. Leftover rice can quickly grow nasty bacteria that causes severe food poisoning, so after a day, just toss it out. As for preparation, don't just shovel down plain cold rice. Instead, use that day-old rice to make a healthy fried rice. Add a little oil in a wok, toss in some scallions, leftover veggies, and some ginger, which, by the way, is fantastic for brain health and lowering inflammation. And hey, throw in one of those eggs we talked about earlier. You get a brand new, incredibly tasty dish packed with gut-healing resistant starch.
Moving right along to section 4, popcorn, the ultimate snack.
Let's pivot to snacking for a second. When we think of popcorn, we usually picture those giant, greasy movie theater buckets, which has honestly ruined this food's reputation. But if we look at the actual biological benefits, popcorn itself isn't junk food at all. It's actually a whole grain. It is totally packed with high fiber and polyphenols. Together, these elements feed your gut microbiome and produce potent anti-inflammatory substances. Plus, the sheer volume and fiber of popcorn fills you up, helping to naturally regulate your appetite so you don't end up overeating at dinner time. But again, preparation is everything. That fake chemical butter pumped onto movie theater popcorn is literally so toxic that factory workers who manufacture it have developed severe lung diseases. Stay far, far away from that. Instead, try this. Pop your kernels using extra virgin olive oil. Then skip the artificial ranch or barbecue dust. Trust me, your body will thank you. Take some dried rosemary, grind it up super fine in a coffee grinder, and sprinkle it over the top for this amazing Mediterranean-style, gut-supporting treat. Finally, do not burn it. Burning popcorn creates harmful carcinogens and toxins called advanced glycation end products that can lodge in your organs. If you burn a few kernels, don't scrape the bottom of the bowl to eat them. Just throw the burnt bits away.
All right, let's look at our final surprise, Section 5, Dark Chocolate, for the heart.
We need to immediately distance this from the processed, sugar-filled Halloween candy you might be picturing. Milk chocolate and white chocolate are basically just confections loaded with unhealthy fats. True dark chocolate is a completely different story. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is the specific biological mechanism at play. Dark chocolate is made from cacao, which is a plant-based food absolutely loaded with cacao polyphenols, specifically flavonols. When these enter your bloodstream, they help your body naturally produce a signaling molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide causes your blood vessels to physically widen and relax. This means better blood flow to your brain for sharper thinking, better flow to your muscles, and it takes the strain off your heart, significantly lowering your blood pressure.
But to actually get those remarkable cardiovascular perks, quality is paramount. You need to look for dark chocolate that is 70 to 80% cacao or even higher. You have to bypass the sugar and milk additives found in lesser chocolates. Always, always read the ingredient label to make sure there are no unwanted chemicals sneaking in there.
Of course, 80% dark chocolate can pack a pretty bitter punch. So try this practical tip, the mocha hack. I absolutely love this one. Combine just 2 to 3 squares of high-quality dark chocolate with 1 cup of black coffee. The flavors pair beautifully, cutting right through that bitterness, and you are double dosing on plant polyphenols from both the cacao and the coffee bean. It's a delicious, energizing way to get those cardiovascular benefits while keeping your quantity perfectly controlled so you don't overeat. Let's bring all of this together in our conclusion, the 3 rules of eating. So, the crucial point is this. We've looked at eggs, potatoes, white rice, popcorn, and dark chocolate. 5 foods commonly labeled as bad, which actually possess incredible health defenses when we approach them correctly. It all comes back to Dr. Lee's 3 golden rules. First, quality. Always choose whole foods over heavily processed variants. Second, quantity. Even the healthiest foods will overwhelm your metabolism if you overeat. Portion control is absolutely vital. And third, preparation. How you cook a food physically changes its molecular impact on your body. Remember, foods aren't just strictly good guys or bad guys. Whole foods are not inherently evil. I want to leave you with a pretty provocative thought. If just letting your rice or potatoes chill in the fridge overnight can fundamentally reprogram their molecular structure, literally turning a so-called bad carb into powerful gut medicine, how else might your kitchen actually be a pharmacy? The next time you cook, remember that you aren't just making a meal, you are actively programming your biology. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I hope you feel empowered to enjoy your food with science on your side.